Hey, Devlin here. I was about to take a walk down memory lane. Why don't you join me? As you can tell, Christmas is in the air and I'm in full spirit. But there was a couple of years ago where I was having trouble getting into the spirit, and I know that's a common thing. I didn't know I did all the stuff that I normally do, and it just wasn't happening. I decided maybe I should go to a Santa Claus parade, because when I was a kid, I used to love that. I mentioned this to one of my colleagues at work, and he told me, well, yeah, you could come and volunteer, and, I help out with some groups, and you could come and help work at the Santa parade. And I decided, okay, I'll get back to you and stuff. And I realized I was backpedaling immediately. So I thought, well, I wanted to watch a Santa parade. I didn't want to work at it. But after a couple of days, I thought about it, and I said, well, maybe doing something like this is exactly what I need. So I told him that I would be there, and he told me that they meet at this little church outside, where one of the parade route was going to go. So I went out of my comfort level and decided, yeah, I'm going to volunteer and we'll see how it goes. So I got to this little church and getting ready for the Stony Creek Santa Claus parade a few years ago. And there was a whole bunch of people that I had never met before, and my friend wasn't there. So I was looking around for my friend Christian. He wasn't there. So finally somebody came up to me and said, hi, can I help you? And I said, I'm a friend of Christian's, and I'm here to help. And they were very nice, and they welcomed me in. And they introduced me, and everything was great. Now, what I loved about this even more is, as you can see, I like to paint my nails, and I don't hide the fact that I'm not gay. And here's this little church, and you always hear horror stories about churches and how non-accepting they are of people they don't know. Well, in this case, it was totally wrong, because they welcomed me in with open arms, and I met a lot of wonderful people that I still bump into regularly, and we have that bond. So I decided I wanted to help. Basically what they did was the church would open up and have cookies and soup and hot chocolate and coffee for people who were freezing watching the Santa Claus parade, so people could come in. And I met this woman, Elizabeth, and she was kind of the coordinator, and she was this older lady who was just like the grandpa, the perfect grandma that you would want. And I never grew up with a grandparent. I had one grandmother, and, well, that's another story for another day. But anyhow, I instantly was taken in, and she introduced me, and then when she heard I was volunteering, but I wasn't doing anything because nobody had really started doing anything, in no time she had a Santa cap on me, and I was greeting people at the door. And she was just lovely. She eventually took me for a tour on the church, talking about, and what I like talking about, like how she prepared for the church and the things they did at the church. And she said she lost her husband recently, and she knew that helping out in the church was her way of giving back to the world. And I loved it. What I also loved is, I'm not the biggest religious fan. I'm a spiritual fan, but I've always accepted everybody's religious things, and I went on a journey myself. Again, a story for another time. But I decided that, it didn't matter to me. These people were wonderful, and everything was great. And I never got the hard sell. Yeah, they told me you should come to the services and stuff, and I appreciated that. But they never, you got her, you got her. It wasn't anything like that. It was just all very telling me what they believed in, and I loved that because it was simple conversation. So I started greeting people, and before the parade started, it was amazing. We had bagpipe players, we had people who played in other bands, like high school bands and stuff. There were families who wanted to get in line early, and it was great. And I would tell them where the bathroom is, or where they could get some warm food, or just come in and just enjoy, just getting out of the cold for a bit. And it was just amazing. And there was little donkeys that came up to the thing, and I got to go out and pet them, and little horses, and it was just unreal. This whole little church was filled with all these people. Just before the parade was about to start, I was thinking, well, Christian still hasn't shown up, I don't know where he is. And then what happened was they actually pulled me in, and I started serving hot chocolate. So I already got a promotion because I was doing so well. So I'm serving hot chocolate, and then about 5 minutes before the parade start, Christian shows up with his family and says, "Oh, we've been looking for you." And I said, "Well, I've been here for about an hour and a half helping out." And he goes, "Oh, you came to the church. I meant we were meeting in the back of the church where they let us do our thing." So here I am thinking I came to the wrong place and I've been helping out all along. So he said, "Well, you can come join us. We still, could use a hand and stuff." And I looked around at all the new people I met, especially Elizabeth with that beautiful smile and that Irish accent. And I just said, "You know what? I think I'm going to continue to help out here because I feel very welcome and it's giving me the Christmas feels." And I wanted that. And he said, "That's amazing. Just the fact that you got that, it was great." Eventually the pastor showed up and he talked to me, and I was telling people the story how I wound up at the wrong place and became a volunteer there. The pastor told me that in some ways it might have been the wrong place, but maybe in some ways it was the right place. It was exactly where I needed to be, and he was right. When I walked home, I was in full spirit. I had my MP3 player on with Christmas music, and that spirit was alive in me. Just the small little stuff I did. Like, I didn't do anything amazing. I poured hot chocolate. I made sure people got some soup. I showed them where the bathroom was. But I made so many people smile, and they smiled back at me, and I met some wonderful people. And guess what? The year after, I went back to that church, and I did it all again. I'd be back there this year too, but unfortunately, the Stony Creek Santa Claus Parade and most Santa Claus parades in our area have closed, and that's a sad thing. But I will think of them, and as I said, I bump into them often, and I offer them nothing but love. This to me was like a Hallmark movie. I'm not a big fan of those, but if I had one, this would be mine. How I wound up at the wrong place, but it was the right time, so it made everything right. I have a lot of Christmas stories, but this has become one of my all-time faves, and I wanted to share it with you. I wish you a very happy holidays from me and Mondo Nostalgia and all of us. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have your Hallmark movie moment coming very soon.